Are you looking to overcome binge and emotional eating? I'm sure you've read a ton of different stuff online, and this is my 2 cents. I'm Jared Levinson, and I'm the founder of Eating Enlightenment. And for the past 4 to 5 years, I've been coaching people on how to create healthier, more peaceful relationships with food, body, mind, heart, and soul. And in this video, I'm going to be sort of wrapping up the culmination of this journey, this 4 year journey for me that's been sort of professional, coaching eating disorder clients as well as working at an eating disorder clinic for the past 4 to 5 years, as well as incorporating elements from my personal history struggling with a degree of binge eating and trauma and the mental health issues that really are the root cause of binge eating. So in this video, we're going to kind of start with the symptoms, how you know you're a binge eater, and then we're going to be going into the Band-Aid solutions. These are solutions that you've probably already heard about. Intuitive eating is great. Eat, stop when you're hungry, eat when you're full, get rid of the diet mentality. That's all great and necessary, but they're ultimately Band-Aids. And I do feel that the longer journey ahead is learning about your family systems, going into the trauma, getting embodied, going through all this gunk inside that is really these internal family systems. And so I'm going to be talking more about that more confusing aspect in this video as well. So there's 3 parts of the video I'm going to be covering as I sort of wrap up this chapter in my life. I am transitioning roles in life. I'm really excited for the journey ahead. You can stay tuned for another video about that. But this video is sort of me outlining how I see the journey to recovery based on my experiences. And we're going to be covering first, symptoms of binge eating, causes, etc., the Band-Aid level solutions, hunger, fullness, that type of thing. And then the thing that most people don't talk about, which is the attachment patterns, the trauma that gets stored in our body, and how long a journey that really is to go through that, and sort of some things for you to think about. Okay, so let's just dive in, shall we? First of all, binge and emotional eating. You could eat a little bit, you could eat a lot of it. It doesn't really matter, but usually there's a feeling of compulsion. You have to do it. Usually there is immense guilt afterwards. And finally, this has been something that you've been struggling with for a long, long time, most likely. And you try to control it with willpower. You try to do dieting, you try to do cleanses, you try to do all these different tricks. But inevitably, at the end of the day, or whenever, but oftentimes at the end of the day, after a work day, you just can't stop yourself. And, as much as you hate yourself afterwards, as much as that hurts you, as much money as you spend, as, blah, 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 you can't stop. It's a compulsion and it is horrible. It is, not only bloating and all that stuff, but just the guilt and the shame and etc. So that in a nutshell is binge and emotional eating. It doesn't matter as much about the food, the amount of food, but rather the compulsion, the urges, and the loss of control, the guilt and shame that follows. So that's a quick nutshell. Now, let me start talking about the Band-Aid solutions. These are things that you'll need to do, but that won't fully work. So it's kind of tricky because you want something to fully work, but you need to prepare your mind, body, and soul to be ready to go in. Oftentimes people aren't ready to go in and start going into their past memories of trauma. It's just something people don't want to do. I get that. I'm here to tell you that if you really do want to recover, at some point, you're going to need to go into your childhood and learn how to excavate those memories in a safe way, in a gradual way, but it is a painful process. Yeah, it's painful. It's painful as hell. You can do it with support over time, and it is worth it because you will reclaim something in your heart. You will recover something that you lost in your heart, in your soul, your life force, your love, your meaningfulness of life. You can get that back, and it's worth it because you can you know, humanity is worth it, and you have it within you, but it's buried. And to excavate that, you'll need to uncover some family shit that you don't want to face, that is painful to face. And really, not many people are ready to do that. It takes a long time, and not many people are ready to do that. And I wouldn't advise you to start off with that either. That's the other stuff we're going to talk about next. First, you need to kind of get your mind and heart and body ready to even go there. So, if we're working backwards, then what we need to be able to do before we get into the family, uncovering all these body traumas that have been stored in our body, traumas that have been stored in our body, all these old stories and narratives that have we got passed on from our family and our generations before us. Before we get into all that and and in this stuff, we need to be mentally ready. And that means we need to be able to be in our body and tolerate that with some discomfort because it's not comfortable being in your body. I get that. But let's just say and be realistic that if you really do want to recover, you're going to need to be able to bring your consciousness. You're going to be able to have your consciousness reside in your body. Okay, you're going to need to be able to sit there for a little bit. You're going to need to be able to sit in your body and feel things that you don't want to feel. That, before we even get to that family stuff that's deep within and all that gunk and darkness and pain and stuff that you don't want to talk about. I get that. Don't even worry about that for right now. Before we even get there, you'll need to be able to be in your body, right? You'll need to be able to have some relaxation, some ability to be in your body. So we don't even need to go to that family stuff if you're not ready to be in your body. So essentially, one thing that is extremely helpful is learning mindfulness, learning how to soothe and relax the body, learning how to be in the body, learning how to take care of the body, learning how to connect to the body, to learn the emotions of the body. What are your emotions saying in the body? Your body is the key to all this, okay? I mean, your body is the key to all this. Even when we get into the family stuff, it comes up through your body. The family stuff, the parts, the narratives, they're all in your body. Okay, so if you want to heal and really get to the core of this, we need to be able to tune in to the body, to listen to the body, to connect with the body and gradually understand the body's language. And this is tough. I mean, this step right here, before we even get to that family stuff, it's like learning a new language. I mean, for real. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat this. Getting over binge and emotional eating is, this first stage is like learning a new language. Like, I've tried to learn a new language. It's freaking tough. It is months and months and months. Really learning a new language, becoming fluent is like at least a year, probably more and that's with dedicated study and so forth. So, good news, you eat a bunch of times a day. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you have thought about this before that, man, it sucks. I can't just cut out alcohol. You can cut out alcohol, but you can't cut out food, right? You got to eat. So, good news is that you're going to have plenty of time to practice, but this stuff takes a while. Being in your body, just learning to feel those physical sensations and understand what they mean, what they signal, your basic needs. We have to be able to read the body to meet our basic emotional needs. That's like before the family stuff, right? We got to be able to connect with the body, understand when we're hungry, when we're tired, when we're stressed, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, when we're depleted, when we're exhausted. We absolutely need to tune in and listen to the body. This is sort of preceding the family stuff. Okay, so that's so important. We need to get to be able to do that before we get to the family stuff. Now, um, for a lot of people, that's nearly impossible. If you have a trauma, if you have a history of neglect, if you have been dieting forever and neglected your body, if you have pushed your body to the brink, if you have just not learned how to tune into your body, if you had overthinking parents or intellectual parents who didn't really tune into you, learning this stuff is really, really tough. And that's where some of the band-aid solutions come in handy. Learning, so this is general mental health education, anti-dieting type of thing. Learning about the dangers of dieting. You restrict, it doesn't work, you gain weight. Learning why that doesn't work. So just take my word on it. I'm covering these things real fast here, but dieting doesn't work. So when you learn that dieting doesn't work, there's another way. It kind of like it's going to throw your mind a little bit, but deep down you know that it can't just all be about rules and willpower and so forth, that your body has to be in the mix. So um so learning about anti-dieting and learning the idea, at least, of feeding yourself regularly. These are things. What are there other ones? Learning to listen to your hunger and fullness, learning to stretch and take care of your body, um, learning. I guess those are maybe the main ones. Learning what contentment feels like after you eat. Learning to take care of your sleep patterns. Easier said than done. All these things are much easier said than done. And these are the band-aid solutions. Learning to listen to your hunger. These are sort of guideposts. These are sort of clues or lights. These are sort of roads you can take that will help you get into your body more. When you start understanding that dieting doesn't work, when you understand that, then you're going to start listening more to your hunger, to your fullness. I'm seating on a heating pad right here. It's a little cold, so my butt is warm. See, I'm listening to my body, right? My butt is hot right now, so I'm listening to my body. So when you learn about anti-dieting, your mind is gonna be a little confused on what to do, but hopefully you start gently learning how to listen to your body. And listening to your body is tremendously confusing. Don't get me wrong. This whole journey is really confusing, but guess what? So is learning a new language, right? I mean, when you first start learning a new language, it's beyond frustrating. And this thing is, it's really hard to not take this stuff personally. Your struggles with food, you think it's your fault and all this stuff. So, self-compassion. Self-compassion is so big. Um, for many people, it's so difficult to practice self-compassion. Um, but just but learning these things, however, whatever you're ready to learn is where you start. If you're not ready for the family stuff, don't worry about it. If you're not ready for the body attunement, don't worry about it. But maybe dieting, maybe you realize that dieting doesn't work, so you start there. Maybe you start to think about eating for contentment. um, Maybe you start to think about listening to your hunger and fullness and mindful eating and slowing down and chewing your food. Maybe these things resonate with you. Even let's just talk about mindful eating, because you probably realize that that's part of the solution. Slowing down, chewing your food, actually tasting it, being present for the experience. These things help you get in your body. They help you understand more and more of what your body is going through. Um, I'm probably missing some things. Probably one of the biggest things. So as you learn to give up dieting, to eat regularly, to listen to your hunger and fullness, to listen to what feels good, you naturally start to listen to more of your body. And this is where all the self-soothing, self-regulating, and positive thinking comes in. So these are all band-aid solutions still, don't get me wrong. Positive thinking, like tapping, progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing to manage anxiety, compassion for depression. You got to go get some cognitive behavioral therapy training as well to help reframe those negative thoughts. These are all skills. There's so many different skills here. learning to eat regularly and learning to uh, release tension in the body, to notice tension in the body, to release the tension, to um, to deep breathe when you're anxious, to know that you're anxious, to go on walks and to nourish your body, um, to attune to pleasure. If what do you like to do? What makes you feel good? Um, Learning how to feel pleasure. Uh, these things are all helping you get into your body. So really the body is like the gateway. Before you can do all that inner family trauma, healing, uprooting all that negativity and darkness and stuff that you don't want to face from your childhood, you got to be able to be grounded in your body. To do that, we got to be eating regularly. And this isn't a rule. You're eating regularly because it feels better to eat regularly. It's attuning to your body, attuning to your hunger signals. It's learning to listen to your heart and your emotions for when you're stressed, learning how to relieve stress, to relax the body, to tap it away, to open the heart up, to stretch it out, and to accept these feelings as well. Acceptance is such a key part. You got to accept where you're at, even though it's painful, even though your heart is roaring with pain. We gotta accept where we're at. Um, Okay, so all that stuff brings you up to a connection with your body. You might feel tremendously uncomfortable in your body. You might feel overwhelmed in your body. You might feel disgusted by your body. You might feel in pain with your body. Um, but if you can soothe your nervous system so you're in a state of rest and relaxation instead of constant stress, you're going to be able to be in your body. And that's really the gateway. If that is really the gateway. It's always being in your body is the path forward, and it's always the path forward. Okay, so good news is that like you don't ever stop being in your body. Even after you're recovered and all this stuff, you're always in your body. So don't think that ever stops. Okay, let me see. Where am I? We are getting in the body, and you're being able to attune to those emotions. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have to be able to listen to our body's signals, the sensations in your body, the itching, the scratching, the hunger, the growls, the hot temperature, the aches, the headaches, the tension. All these things are communicating to you signals. We need to learn to decipher these signals. So when you listen to your body and you're learning to attune to your body, especially the needs for hunger, for rest, for relaxation, learning what your emotions mean and what you need, um, it's just that's a lot of this. That's a lot of this journey, and this could take 2 years for real. I mean, this stuff just takes a long time. I don't have any easy solutions for you. Hopefully, I'm giving you a blueprint that sort of gives you a roadmap that you can think about and contemplate. But just telling you what I've seen. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. Uh, yeah, this shit is painful. It's fucking terrible in many ways that you have to deal with this. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Um, Okay, so long story short, you get into your body. Okay, you can be in your body, you can regulate your nervous system a bit more. You're well fed, your energy is more stable. You're probably working with a therapist at this point. Um, Now, there's a couple different types of therapy, and this is just my personal opinion. Um, you'll probably want to work with an intuitive eating therapist or intuitive eating counselor or cognitive behavioral therapist. There's all sorts of different great therapies: acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to want to work with a therapist to get up to this point of feeling with your body. That's general therapy. You can probably get a lot of that stuff through different therapists. Um, at some point in your journey, remember, these are all band-aid solutions. You're probably still binging. Maybe you're binging less. You're probably binging like way less now, right? You're still probably, maybe you were way out of control before, and now you're like only, maybe you binge like once a week, and it's not like that bad. You still feel really guilty, but your shame bouts aren't like 3 or 4 days. It's more like 24 hours or 12 hours. You're making progress, but there is a piece of the puzzle, maybe 20% of it, I don't know, whatever, it's hard to estimate, but that's the trauma shit, and that's the root cause. And this is where you got to go into your childhood. This is where a different type of therapy is sort of necessary. All the intuitive eating, cognitive behavioral therapy is great, but then working with a great therapist who knows secure attachment. Okay, let me just pause and talk about this family stuff. It's so hard. It's so hard to wrap your mind around, but not that hard, I guess. Okay, so we're raised by parents. Parents have their flaws. We internalize their flaws, and we develop these internal voices. They're like little parts of us. All of our parts have these different relationships with each other. Some protect parts. So we need to be able to dialogue with these different parts. This is where it might sound like I'm speaking a foreign language at this point. This internal world, this subconscious world, is literally a different reality. It really is like way different than the first stuff that we talked about. I'm talking about you need to be able to feel your inner children. Okay. So that kind of looks like where you have an emotion and you can connect with emotion, you can dialogue with it. And through a therapist, by working with a therapist, I think working with a therapist is so important. You can uncover the histories, the roles, the parts will speak to you. The parts will speak to you. If you can listen and attune to your body, they'll energetically express themselves in ways that you can understand through images and sound, or images and feelings primarily, and memories. So and this takes years. Don't get me wrong. This takes years. Like this second part takes years. Like it's just 5+ years. It just takes forever to freaking um, uncover these parts and how they have their histories, and to sort through it all, because there's so much noise and confusion and chaos and pain and shame, and it all gets bundled together and it feels so hopeless and you give up, and it's a fucking mess in there. um Nonetheless, attachment theory, internal family systems, uh kind of the psychoanalytic approach to therapy, where you're getting to the core attachment patterns, is the way forward. I think I'm gonna keep that part relatively simple, because I could go on and on about this part, but this video is really meant to be sort of a blueprint forward. So I'm going to start summarizing this right now. There's band-aid solutions where you're getting over dieting, you get in your body to meet your emotional needs. There's all these self-soothing techniques. There's all the eating contentment and taking care of yourself. These are all great skills. They don't get you to the promised land. The promised land really takes just time. Um, it just takes time where you're working with your traumas. Um, and let me say one final thing, that when you're working with trauma, it is painful. There's this idea that um, the energy, and you got to be able to learn to cry. I mean, before this journey, I never cried. Now I cry like way more. Okay, so basically, crying is very important, because all this pain that got trapped in your body when you were young, um, or trapped in your body somehow, it's like frozen in there, and it's very painful. Um, as you start to become conscious of it and learning to relate to this pain differently, um, learning to self-soothe it, it's going to come up. This process is necessarily painful, because all this pain inside that's causing you to do all this binging and stuff, like the only way to get it out is to let it come up, experiencing it. And this hurts. Your heart is going to hurt. It's fucking painful. And and being conscious of it, being able to be a steady conscious presence through the pain. The pain will come up and you'll cry. You gotta, because there's just no other way. So learning to cry really for what you've lost, for the childhood that you've lost, for the things that should have been different. Your parents, they might have done a great job in many other ways. I'm sure they tried their best. Maybe they didn't. I'm not trying to parent bash here, but many of us did not have the parents that we needed. And that is just the saddest thing in the world. It really fucking is. And there's so much to grieve, and there's so much pain inside that we need to see. And ultimately, we're learning to be parents that we never had to ourselves. So we have all these inner children inside who are scared, who are anxious, who are confused, who are angry, who are frustrated, who are beyond frustrated, who are hopeless. These are all inner children, and you are becoming the wise parent who leads, cares for them, who nurtures them, who harmonizes them. That's sort of what this looks like, is understanding all these parts, relating to them, understanding why they are the way they are, how they got their roles from their family, how it manifests energetically, um, and being able to understand what they need, being able to uh, manage those in manage those inner relationships. Um, this is a matter of the heart. It is a process that is just as complicated as you can tell. This video is just, this is a complicated blueprint, but hopefully this is some sort of blueprint for you if you're, really want to get to the bottom of things and you want to learn how. Um, yeah, that's sort of my understanding of this at all. Takes, there's just so many stages where you're probably not going to be ready to understand it all. So take it one step at a time. Maybe there's some stuff of this video that resonates with you, but you're not ready for all of it. That's fine. Take it one step at a time. Um, that's what this video is about. Hopefully giving you a little blueprint for you to sort of think about. And I hope this helps. Okay, so um, stay tuned for future updates. I'll be around. So the usual. Namaste.